We're taking this time to make sure that we're operating smoothly, that we're operating safely, so that we ensure a safe return for the crew on board the vessel and back home to their families and teams.
Yeah, we call conclusion of the mission when the crew egresses the spacecraft, and egress means to exit the spacecraft. Got some calm waters there, which is great.
Yes, exactly what we're looking for.
Southern California, southern Pacific Ocean, as we splash down off the coast of San Diego today.
Dragon, SpaceX, hypergol sweeps and unfired ordnance checks are nominal. Rigging is in progress. Approximately 5 minutes until capsule lift. We have SpaceX flight surgeon standing by. Please confirm crew are ready for post-splashdown PMC.
Dragon, copy go, and we are ready for post-PMC.
Copy that, Dragon. The next call you hear will be from flight surgeon on Dragon to ground privatized.
And you heard those comms. The team is going to do some medical checks. They are going to do that on a private net. And that's what those comms were, confirming that they're switching the nets that they will be communicating on. And this is just to make sure that the crew is feeling okay.
Exactly right.
Through all those dynamic events.
Yep.
While for us watching Dragon re-enter the Earth's atmosphere from afar, there's a lot going on in that spacecraft there with the crew. So just making sure that the crew is feeling good and checking in with how they're doing.
Exactly. It's an important touch point for kind of reaching a key milestone on the return trip home. As just mentioned, it's a very dynamic phase of flight. In those private medical conferences or PMCs with a SpaceX flight surgeon, really allow ground teams to be able to make an initial assessment of crew while the team is also the ground teams outside are continuing to work that rigging. They mentioned it would take about 25 minutes for crew to rig and then hoist the Dragon spacecraft into the recovery vessel. So while those operations are happening, crew will also be talking with ground medical personnel just to get an understanding of, hey, how's everybody doing? How are you looking forward to it?
Yeah. And they did confirm that the vehicle was safe to approach. They did some hypergol checks, and they also checked the thrusters that did not fire to make sure that there are no leaks from those thrusters. We do have Super Dracos on the vehicle in case of an abort emergency during ascent. We did not need those thrusters on this mission. And again, they are only used for the ascent portion, but we do want to make sure that throughout the mission, as the Dragon spacecraft was docked to the International Space Station for 18 days, that everything is still good and safe, again, to complete these final recovery operations. And again, it's a little dark because it's very early morning, but you can see the little window on Dragon and the light. Little light inside there as the crew is patiently waiting recovery operations.
It's a very different view that they're having outside that window than they had for their flight up and their flight home.
Yes.
But all the same, I'm sure that they're also glad to say, hey, we're home. If you're just joining us from home, you are seeing live views of the Dragon spacecraft that has returned home from the Axiom 4 mission. After launching on June 25th, the Axiom 4 mission...
Dragon, SpaceX, Dragon to ground is now unprivatized. Comm check.
We have you loud and clear on Dragon ground.
Copy, Dragon. We have you the same.
You can now see on the screen SpaceX support personnel beginning the rigging procedures to ensure that the Dragon spacecraft is rigged.
SpaceX, be advised, we're going to step into transitioning the forward link. Comm will be unavailable for approximately 5 minutes. Rigging continues nominally.
Dragon copies. 5 minutes. LOS.
Again, the Corps just keeping the crew updated with the operations that they're performing. They won't have comms for about 5 minutes, but rigging is continuing, as we can see there, with the recovery crew member standing on top of the spacecraft.
Yeah, working very important procedures for the next phase of the AX-4 mission. And for those of you who've been following along since June 25th, when a Falcon 9 lifted off from Kennedy 39A, this was a pristine new Dragon. That crew had the privilege and the pleasure of naming Grace. And now that it's gone through its first mission and landed back safely in the Pacific Ocean, you can see exactly what the spacecraft goes through on its return home, but very much a sign of a successful mission.
Yeah, I love the tradition that the first crew that flies in the spacecraft get to name the spacecraft. And Peggy Whitson had some great words on why they named the spacecraft Grace,
Yeah.
which I think is amazing. And we've got a great fleet of Dragon spacecraft. And speaking of Commander Peggy Whitson, she's actually our third frequent flyer.
Yeah.
Our first frequent flyer was Michael Lopez Alegria from Axiom Space.
Yeah.
Second being Jared Isaacman when he flew on the Polaris Dawn mission. And now Peggy Whitson flying for a second time on a Dragon spacecraft. At SpaceX, we're trying to make these vehicles reusable, just like aircraft when you fly and fly over again multiple times a day. And we're getting closer and closer to that with the same crew members
Exactly.
flying again, which is
Exactly.
awesome.
And it's important